When Yahweh had delivered the king of Aram into the king of Yisrael's hand, but the king of Yisrael, Ahab, had let him go free and made a covenant with him, then the prophet went and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with his headband over his eyes. And as the king passed by, he cried to the king, and he said, Thy servant went out into the midst of the battle, and behold, a man turned aside, and brought a man to me, and said, Keep this man. If by any means he be missing, then shall thy soul be for his soul, or else thou shalt pay a kakar of silver. And as thy servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Yisrael said to him, So shall thy judgment be, thyself hast decided it. And he hasted, and he removed the headband from his eyes, and the king of Yisrael discerned him, that he was of the prophets. Then he said to him, Thus saith Yahweh, because thou hast let go out of thy hand the man whom I had devoted to destruction, therefore thy soul shall go for his soul, and thy people for his people. And the king of Yisrael went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Shamron. Of the books called Kings, the first, chapter 21. And it was after these things that Naboth the Yezreeli had a vineyard, which was in Yezreel, beside the palace of Ahab, king of Shamron. And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of green plants, because it is near to my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it, or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, Yahweh forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers to thee. And Ahab came to his house heavy and displeased, because of the word which Naboth the Yezreeli had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed, and turned away his face, and would not eat bread. But Izebel his woman came to him, and said to him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said to her, Because I spoke to Naboth the Yezreeli, and said to him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Izebel his woman said to him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Yisrael? Arise and eat bread, and let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Yezreeli. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters to the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, and that dwelt with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of worthlessness, before him, and let them bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst curse God and the king, and then carry him out, and stone him to death. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who dwelt in his city, did as Izebel had sent to them, according as it was written in the letters which she had sent to them. They proclaimed a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And the two men, sons of worthlessness, came in and sat before him. And the men of the worthlessness bear witness against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did curse God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city, and stoned him to death with stones. Then they sent to Izebel, saying, Naboth is stoned, and is dead. And it was, when Izebel heard that Naboth was stoned, and was dead, that Izebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Yezreeli, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it was, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Yezreeli, to take possession of it. And the word of Yahweh was to Eliyahu the Tishbe, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, who dwelleth in Shamaron. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to take possession of it. And thou shalt speak to him, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, Hast thou killed, and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak to him, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, In the place where dogs licked the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Eliyahu, Hast thou found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to do that which is evil in the sight of Yahweh. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will utterly sweep thee away, and will cut off from Ahab everyone urinating for himself into a wall, and him that is shut up, and him that is left at large in Israel. And I will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Achiah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and hast made Israel to sin. And also of Izebel hath Yahweh worded, saying, The dogs shall eat Izebel by the rampart of Yezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the birds of the skies eat. But there was none like Ahab, who did sell himself to do that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, whom Izebel his woman stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all that the Amorri did, whom Yahweh cast out before the children of Israel. And it was, when Ahab heard those words, that he tore his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of Yahweh was to Eliyahu the Tishbe, saying,
Seest thou how Ahab humbled himself before me? Because he humbled himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house.
And they abode 3 years. There was not war between Aram and Israel. But it became in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, king of Yehudah, came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said to his servants, Know ye that Ramoth Galaad is ours, and we are ones being quiet? And take it not out of the hand of the king of Aram?